Welcome to the How Business Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Pohl. Today we're joined with Aiden O'Rourke of Roastr Coffee. Thanks for coming on. He drove all the way from Findlay, right?
Yeah, Findlay.
We're here in Columbus. We're doing a in-the-home one, and we just brewed some delicious Brazilian French press, so thank you again for that.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Kind of give a background of your history on how you kind of led up to the start of Roastr.
Yeah, so I got into the whole journey of coffee when I was actually about 16 years old, and a friend of mine was actually roasting before, and he taught me a ton of information about which beans to pick, the correct elevation, where to source your beans from, the best places and parts of the different countries, and how to pull the perfect shot of espresso, or how to brew the perfect cup.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was wholesaling from him. And then once I got into the wholesaling part, I was also importing from maybe 6 or 7 different countries at that time, and then 3 different states. Like I know one roaster was out of Michigan, Seattle, and then I think one in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wholesaling their beans, going door to door, doing sales. At the time, I was going to PENTA Career Center up in Perrysburg, Ohio. And I was in the business program, and since we're in the business program, they had a school store there, and so I worked out a deal with the school, and I was able to sell the different coffees that I had inside the school store for free.
Really?
And I was able to just because I was friends with the head of the business department there, so he let me sell it in there, and I got to keep all the money from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just got free exposure,
Yeah.
and then wow, so it's like your own storefront.
Yeah, and I got a grade for it too, and credits, college credits, high school credits, and money. So it was a great deal.
Yeah, you came out of it with a brand and a business. So how did you kind of connect with those distributors and suppliers?
I just searched on social media pretty much and found people who had good coffee, and then looked at the reviews and made sure it was good coffee, because whether it's my product or somebody else's, I don't like to sell people stuff that I don't like, or that I wouldn't use myself, just because I'm not like that. So I tested. I went through the whole process like anybody else, but they sent me samples. I cupped it. I made sure it tasted good. Had some other friends and family try it out, make sure it was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got okays from everybody, then I would move forward and buy their bags and then go around town selling them.
And you would do that door to door.
And then I even had like my brother help me out sometimes. He would just go down door to door.
Was that successful in doing that?
It was good for the time I was, because I was doing that, and then of course I had like a part-time job working at a fast food restaurant while I was in high school, and I did that on the side too. And then in the morning, tried to get to school early and sell in the school store, and even was selling to teachers in the school and students and other stuff. It wasn't super successful, but that time I used more for I learned a lot about business a lot quicker than they were teaching in class, which was funny though, because while I was in the business school there at Penna, I was always asking like 1,000 questions to the teacher, because like all the stuff that they were teaching, I was like, yeah, like I just had to deal with that last week. While you guys are talking about it out of the book, I was like, yeah, no, I know what that feels like, or like basic budgeting stuff, or financial forecasting and all of that. And then especially so I had that, and then that kind of once I got involved in other jobs and in college, that kind of just went away, and then took a break for a while and was
Roastr? From Roastr?
Well, my brand before wasn't called Roastr.
Okay.
It was called Café de Calidad, which just means quality coffee.
Okay.
And that was when I was 16. And then this Roastr, what I have now, that started towards the end of last year.
Okay. And then that was just kind of to, rebrand what you originally did?
Yeah, kind of. Okay. But not really, because what I was doing was, before I was just wholesaling. Yeah. Now what I got into doing was importing, roasting, packaging with my own label, my own bags, doing the whole process having control over the whole process. Because before I didn't have any input on how they were roasting or what level of roast they were going to, or where they were getting their beans from. I just sold whatever they gave me. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to be in control of the whole process so I can guarantee that, and also to cut costs down.
Yeah.
But to make sure, like I know what was coming out of it.
So, you were doing door to door, and then you brought Roastr into the mix. What are you doing differently from like a marketing perspective now?
Well, it made it this time. It made it a lot easier to market because I learned so much more than I knew before about how business works, how coffee works, and everything. That it was easier to market than before, because before I was just wholesaling. I didn't have a personal brand. Mm-hmm. Now this one, everything has the same name on it, so it's a lot easier to do the branding for. And then like the icon that we have, or the logo and all that. So we fit our icon into our name. So the O in Roasters, our brand icons of 3 coffee beans like that. So it was a lot easier just because I had so much more to work with.
Mm-hmm. Are you targeting like social media? When we did the French press, you mentioned how you were did a news interview.
Yeah. So I'm trying to pretty much use many platforms or various ones as I can. So I've had some, which was cool because it's free media, is the news interviews. So like back at the beginning of this year, I had like Channel 11 and Channel 13 from Toledo do an interview, which helped out a lot with getting. Because I was already using social media, and that was helping out with personal sales. Mm-hmm. But then I also wanted to get into supplying like businesses and restaurants. Yeah. And then once it was on the news, and they like actually saw that I was like legit. Yeah. Then that they were like, "Oh yeah, I saw you on the news," and blah blah. And then that helped open a lot of more doors for me, which was really cool that they wanted to even interview me. Yeah. But I think they, and what also helped with the interview was and how they used it was like, because about a year ago I had COVID pretty bad and the whole deal. So then since that was all big in the news and all that, they're like, "Oh, COVID survivor starts a business," and
so it's that type of
runs with it. Yeah, but I made it like known and didn't want to overhype it. Like I had COVID, but I'm not trying to make money off of COVID, for one. And for two, like I'm over all this stuff. So
it's just kind of a cool little story you can build off of, but you don't want it to be that was your main sticking point.
No, I wasn't. I'm not like I'm in the purpose of business to make money, but I'm not gonna do it dirty. And I'm not gonna because I know people that I knew personally that died from COVID, and I had it pretty bad, that I thought it was going to happen to me too. Damn. So I'm not trying to take anything or make anything off of that.
Now, how did you get that TV interview? Because it's an interesting way, for exposure. How did you get that?
Pretty much just it wasn't as hard as it would sound. It was actually pretty easy. So the first one I had was Channel 11. Okay. And I think that was just off of messaging on them on social media and being like, "Hey, we have we messaged one of the news anchors personally. It's like, "Hey, we got a new business. We possibly get an interview and get some like media." And then it was as easy as that.
Really?
Seriously.
Wow.
Like, one thing I've noticed in doing this, I mean, it feels like it's been a long time, but it's only really been, I think, since like October, November last year I started. Mm-hmm. But just because every day's been so long, it feels like it's been forever already. Yeah. But everything that I thought would be super difficult, it wasn't really difficult as in the work perspective of it. It was more difficult in being patient with stuff. Yeah. And then like the biggest thing that I learned was a lot of things will just work themselves out if you show up. So like I just keep doing my work every day, contacting businesses, as many people as I can, and even contacting not just, I mean, yeah, we're a Toledo local roaster, but my plans are bigger than that. So I'm going literally my marketing plan. When I first started, it wasn't super sophisticated, but what I did was I took the map of the country,
Yeah.
and then I'm still working it because it's gonna take forever. But go state by state and then pick a city on the map, and then Google all the coffee shops or all the businesses in that city, and then try to get a hold of somebody there somehow, and then work my way through the whole map. And even if I try a million, if I get 1,000 good accounts, that's still 1,000 good accounts. So,
Yeah.
and it's not hard to do. And then the biggest thing too is word of mouth has helped us out a ton. And then even
I mean, this is good coffee.
yeah.
I mean, I would probably buy a bag, honestly. It's amazing coffee, honestly. So, I like that strategy, honestly, 'cause that's a great way to just get across to the nation. And do you think that kind of that going to that city and then kind of going to that coffee shop is more effective than reaching out with the DM or something along those lines?
Honestly, I use it all. I do both of them. I know some are more effective than others and some are greater than others, but at the end of the day, if it gets me a sale, it gets me a sale, and if it gets me media, it gets me media.
Yeah.
Whether it's $1 or $1,000 per person, like if it gets something coming in, then I'm gonna go for it. I might not spend as much time on the little things, but I'm still gonna put some effort into it and try to get the most out of it as I can.
So is it just you right now? You got any help?
Yeah, so I'm like the business is in my name. I'm the owner of it and do a lot of the work. And then also my fiance helps me out a ton too with so she does pretty much all the marketing and social media for me.
Okay.
I mean, I help out with it and I studied marketing and all that for a while, but I have so much other stuff of part of at the back end of the business to take care of that I'm like, as bad as I want to be sitting there posting every day on it and being on top of it, I can't keep up with all that and still maintain focus on everything else that's moving around constantly. So, I mean, she studied communications, so she's familiar with social media. And I told her before, I was like, hey, you spend enough time on your phone on social media, why don't you do it for me?
Yeah.
And so I was like, since you spend so much time there, you basically have a degree in it.
Yeah.
You've spent so many credit hours working on it.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't you just help me out? And then ever since I started pretty much, she's been like helping me with everything. And then even when it was like Christmas time and we were doing like 80 pounds, we had to roast like 80 pounds a day when it was freezing cold and do all this other stuff. She was out there helping me do all that and package everything. And yeah, so I have help. And then, but to try to keep costs down now, I'm doing as much work as I can. And then once I'm 100% maxed out, then I'll move forward to hiring people, which will probably be this summer, the way things are looking.
Okay.
Because we have a couple big projects coming up, or big accounts coming up that I'm not going to be able to handle by myself and still be able to maintain everything.
So what would kind of be the first, once you hit that, capacity point where you can't just do everything like that, what would the new, the person you hire, what would be their role? Would it be, bagging? What would their role be?
Yeah, of course, depending on how much we have to move per week, my plan would be I would be doing more of the roasting just because that's the part where you can make it or break it.
Okay.
And then, so I would probably have them do the packaging and bagging and labeling the bags. And then you have to measure out each bag for weight and then do all that and then seal it when you're done and everything. So I'd probably have them do that part just for one, because that part's faster. So if I'm going to be paying somebody by the hour to work or whatever, they'll be getting more work out of them for doing that kind of work. And then for roasting, if I could find somebody who knows how to roast good, that to how we normally have been doing it, then, I mean, it's not that hard to do, but it's kind of like baking. It's,
There's an art to it.
Yeah, it's by time and temperature, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of mistakes to learn.
How long does that process take?
The roasting?
Yeah.
Well, so when you get the beans, you get them in green bean, like
Okay.
with the raw version, they're green and like super hard. You roast it, and it takes about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on the roaster you're using. And you have to get them up to at 415 degrees Fahrenheit. They have their first crack, and then you can either go, depending on what roast level that someone orders, because like on our website, tastemyroaster.com, you can choose if you want a light roast, medium dark, or dark. So of course it's different temperatures for each roast. Obviously the higher the temperature, the darker the roast. And so like this one we're doing now is medium dark. So or technically they'd call it like a full city roast. That's about 445 Fahrenheit or 222 Celsius, and you get it up to that. And then you have to cool it down as quick as possible, because since they hold water inside, they hold that heat, and they can still so you could pull them out of the roaster.
Okay.
And if you don't have them on a cooling fan, they can burn right there in front of you. So, and obviously the more beans you burn, the more money you're losing.
Yeah.
So it's a really quick process. Well, the waiting part for the first 15 minutes, that's slow, but once the beans are ready, then it's a quick process of getting them cooled down as quick as possible, so that way they keep as much flavor.
So I've had a lot of conflicting information about this, and I don't know if it's what's true or not. Is the darker the roast more caffeinated?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. The light roast is more caffeinated, right?
Right.
Okay.
The lighter the roast, the more caffeinated, because it's just like with calories in food. The more you burn, the more it evaporates.
Okay.
So like if you ever been in, because it's a lot of chemistry involved if you want to get really technical into it, and I like chemistry, so that's why it wasn't hard for me to like get attracted to how coffee roasts, because like if I'm like in a science class, when you take I remember we took like a Cheez-It and burned it, and then you take the weight before it burned and then the weight after it burned. You can do the math equation and figure out how many calories one Cheez-It had by how much weight it lost and when it was on fire. It's the same way with that, as in the longer it's at that high temperature, the more oil evaporates.
Okay.
And the oils so when you make a cup of coffee, the oil in the water is because you're getting that's why you use hot water when you're making coffee. Well, normally, there's obviously cold brew and all that other stuff, but you're extracting the oil from the coffee, and so you want as much oil as possible because that's what holds that's what you're drinking.
Okay.
You're not drinking the grounds, you're drinking the water with the oil in it. And so normally a cup of coffee, depending on, of course, ratios are always dependent. So people always ask me, like, what's the rate, whatever you like it to be, because some people like stronger coffee, some people like weaker coffee.
Yeah.
And so standard, it's like 95% water and 1 to 5% of the cup is oil. It's just so strong, and that's why the whole liquid's brown. Yeah. So if you only have out of your whole cup 1 to 5% of it's the oil, you want as much caffeine as you can get in oil because it's such a small percent of the cup you're drinking, and then you water it down. So the lighter roast, the less is evaporated, the more is in the bean, so the more you get in your cup.
Okay. See, I knew it. So I had a coffee shop owner tell me differently. I was like, okay, I think it's pretty sure some other coffee shop owner. I've heard what you said. I didn't hear about the scientific background of it, but I've heard what you said before, and I was like, this seems right. So now I'm just on light roast, but kind of going back to the business side of things. Would you ever consider kind of doing K-Cups for Keurigs?
So we do sell reusable K-Cups.
Okay.
That come along, like, so you can order the bag and then a reusable K-Cup. So yeah, we are involved in the Keurig game of it. The reason why we, instead of doing like the white K-Cups that you buy, the ones you throw away, we use a reusable one. That way you're using less plastic and throwing less away. So yeah, we do have K-Cups that are that work with all Keurig machines, and
Interesting.
yeah. So that, and then the next product that I want to get a hold of is reuse, because I have one now. Is the reusable filters for like the standard drip machine that most people use. Is it's just like a plastic and then it has metal mesh around it. So
Yeah.
then you just put it in your dishwasher or sink and rinse it out, and then you can use it again.
Yeah.
So you're not going through throwing so much paper away. Because especially for people who do multiple pots a day or make coffee multiple times a day, that you're just throwing so much paper in the trash.
Yeah.
And then it's just sitting there. And so, and my thing, besides trying to like help out the environment a little bit, I know switching coffee filters won't make a huge difference, but it's something.
Yeah.
But it's for me, just because I like, it's more for space. So like if I have one coffee filter that'll last me 5 years, it only takes up a small space in my cabinet compared to a whole stack of paper that I have to constantly keep repurchasing once a month or once a week, whatever. So that's what caught my eye more about it. Or the K-Cup. You buy one K-Cup and you can use it for until it falls apart.
Yeah.
Which I've had people who have had them for a long time and they use them multiple times a day and they have never had a leak with it, because some K-Cups you buy, the reusable ones from certain stores, when you make it just blows up, like the lid blows up, and then you get grounds in your cup. But I've never had anybody complain about the K-Cups that we sell. So
is that just so you're gonna start offering that metal mesh one for
yeah,
pods?
sometime soon I will. I'm still trying to get a hold of them, but we'll be offering those.
Okay. Yeah. So you could just kind of diversifying and cross selling, because it's a whole coffee world.
Yeah.
Is there what else you see in the future of what you're offering, kind of like next steps from here?
Yeah. So one thing that I'm trying to get into now, is that I will be doing soon, that I think is something that not a lot of people are doing, or I don't know if there might be people doing it. I'm not aware of them and haven't seen it. Is moving into the game of drop shipping coffee.
Okay.
Because
like subscription coffee.
yeah, we'll have that, but as in kind of what other people are doing now on the internet. So like how say YouTubers have their channel and then the companies like Teespring, they'll make the logo for them, and then so that you just click the button, and then you get a T-shirt with the logo of the YouTuber. So to kind of use that model, what we're trying to do is do a drop shipping way for coffee. So if you want to create your own brand of coffee, but you don't want to do all the work, we'll roast it, throw your label on the bag, and then ship it out to the people, and then charge you for the roasting and stuff. And so that way, for people who don't want to invest all the money into all the gear and stuff, you could just be doing it from your house. Obviously, with a lot of people working from home right now, you would be able to start your own coffee brand, and then you can like pick what flavors or pick what different blends you want to do, and then throw your name on the bag, and then
that'd be huge for coffee shop owners. This next level, they eat that up.
Right.
Yeah.
So that way and we have some people that are interested in that right now. And people I didn't come up with that idea. People actually brought it to me and said, "Hey, can you do this?" And I was like, that sounds like a cool idea that no one else has done before. I'm gonna go ahead and try that, because if no one else is doing, because the one thing that I've always looked at is trying to come up with something which is really hard to do, come up with something that people haven't done before, because the people who are really big in business were the ones who came up with something that like started the new trend of something.
Mm-hmm.
So like say Amazon started the new trend of online shopping, or other like Elon Musk started the electric
EV.
electric cars,
Made it very popular.
Right, and then since he was one of the first people on that, he's at the top of it now.
Yeah.
And so what my plan is to be one of the because I haven't seen anybody else who's doing that, but try to be one of the first people who's doing the drop shipping method, or doing that for other people for coffee.
Do you know the YouTube show hot ones, the hot sauce.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, because I was looking into doing, making like a hot sauce thing for my company, because people, I love hot sauce.
Yeah.
And people associate it with me in some regard. But also people love hot sauce. I was like, you know what? I make my own logo. I don't want to make hot sauce. I just want to, get like 50 bottles and just give them or sell them to people. Super easy. I think that's what Hot Ones does for like restaurant owners.
Okay.
So that's like, because my buddy brought back some hot sauce, and I was pretty sure it was like a Hot Ones bottle, but just repackaged in like a Spanish. Because I think he got it at the airport. So
okay.
So it's like that type of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's your
something?
I'm a fan of spicy food and love hot sauce too. Like I always keep a bottle of the sriracha, not the big bottle, but the small bottle of the hot chili paste.
Yeah.
That one, like I put that on everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, spicy food's good.
Yeah.
But so we're gonna be doing that by this summer for sure. And just trying to
Slow growth, just keep grinding.
keep growing. Yeah.
Kind of getting this, how why you started Roasters. We talked about that a little bit on the phone. I think it's a great, entrepreneurial story. So if you want to touch on that.
Yeah. So actually, it was maybe around August or so last year. A friend of mine who I was working with, he started his own company that was he sold baked goods and had a bakery, and he did that on the side, and then we worked a night job together.
Okay.
And then he was getting to the point to where his business was picking up enough to where he was like, hey, I'm gonna go full-time into my business and quit my day job. And then he was like, it's steady enough. He's like, I want to start something else. So I was like, yeah, like let's start something. And then he was like, well, what do you know how to do? And I was like, oh, well, I know about coffee. So then we pretty much just started doing coffee. And then that was actually my first time roasting ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I got lucky or what, or if I just followed the instructions right, but my first roast ever that I did was the best cup of coffee I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not just saying it because it was mine, but I actually drank it, and I was like, holy crap, like, what did I just do?
What was the recipe? How did I just do this?
Yeah, I try to remember and write it down. But, because normally on different things I was reading online, a lot of people who did their first time roasting and burn the beans because they roast too long, or they pull them out too soon because they get nervous, and then they're not roasted all the way. But I did it, and I was just like, wow, this is awesome. Yeah. And then I was like, yep, I'm definitely doing this. So, it was really cool how that whole thing went. Mm-hmm. But what I told him was the first, or the mission that I had when I started it was when I started Roastr. The point of it was I didn't want to take a dollar from it until the point to where we can bring my fiance's dad here, because he's out of the country now.
Okay.
So he lives in Venezuela right now. That's where my fiance and her family's from. Yeah, and so her and her mom are here, and her dad's still there, and so it'll be pretty costly to bring him here and have him get all the paperwork filed and everything to have him here legally. Just because immigration papers are super, super expensive. Yeah. And the process is long and all that. And so I wanted to start something that would generate money to be able to cover that cost. Yeah. Because from what I was doing what I had currently going on before, when her mom got here, I was able to help her out with getting her stuff situated. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to come up with something, just because we were both in school full time and working as much as we could for us, but I wanted to do something on the side that would generate income to help cover that cost. Yeah. And so I made that clear with the person I was starting it up with, that like not a dollar's not coming out of it until we have enough to bring him here and get everything situated and do all that. So so far since I've done it, I haven't touched any money from it at all. So I've been working another job at nights too. So
Grinding.
yeah, so I wake up in the morning and work on doing the coffee and roasting and packaging and everything during the day, and then in the evenings I work a night job so I can like survive.
Yeah.
And then that way all the money is just sitting there waiting until we have enough, and then we'll do that. So yeah, it's been
You're on a mission then, huh?
yeah, it's been a lot, and so that's what it's cool though, because it helps as like motivation, because like say like I come up and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure what our new marketing plan's gonna be or what we're gonna do today, but like I know I have something I gotta do, so it's doing the work's not hard. Like I told her, like if I gotta do over like work 100 hours a week, then it's what it is. Like it doesn't bother me because I know what we're doing it for. And so and then also with our pricing strategy for the company is we want to provide like I think the mission statement for the company we have on social media is like providing a good quality cup of coffee for a fair price, because I feel like a lot of people who do the specialty roasting or small batch roasting, they jack the prices up on it and then use the thing, oh, we're small specialty roasting, but the thing that I said was like, yeah, we're also a small specialty locally roasting thing, but at least in my eyes, you're driving away a lot more people because your price is so high.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think they're a lot more special than they really are, because anybody can really roast coffee. It's not anybody. If anybody took the time to do it and learn and be willing to lose money in the experimenting part of it, then a lot more people could do it. So I'm not getting all like say full of myself like, oh, well, I spent this time roasting specialty coffee, I'm gonna charge $100 a bag for it. And also, but my plan was to think as being thinking more in the future, being a bigger company. My goal was to be more accessible, because at the time when I started it, I was a full-time college student, and so I wanted my goal was from anybody who was say 18 years old, who was working a part-time job or whatever full-time at like a lower paying job, would be able to easily be able to afford that, as compared to someone who's however many years old and has all the money in the world can afford it, and then the people who don't make a ton can afford it too. So that was my goal with it, was for it to be accessible to everybody, and then be able to provide a good enough quality that if anybody tried it, they'd like it.
Yeah.
And so far for us, anybody who I've given samples to, or anybody who's tried it, they've liked it so far. So so far it's been going pretty good. It was growing a lot faster than I expected it to, and I think what was really cool with it was, I know I'm putting a lot of work into it and a lot of time and stuff, but I honestly feel like it's carrying itself. Like I just show up and do the work, and I feel like the move and the next steps are getting big media or moving forward. A lot of that stuff is just working itself out. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned from being a business, is to stay patient and
show up, just keep posting, keep making quality product.
Right, and don't be so full of yourself, and like be vulnerable to when you make mistakes. Don't be like upset and frustrated about it, but like use it as a learning experience at your own expense. So like if I did things and they didn't work out, I'm like, okay, well, what did I do that didn't work, and what can I change to make it better next time? Not using it as like, oh, well, this didn't work, I'm just gonna give it up and throw it all in the bag now.
Yeah.
Because there was times where, and it's funny though, because how the one trend that I've noticed while I've been doing it is like things will go really big and then be big for a while and then go quiet, and then like a minute after the quiet, they'll go really big again.
Yeah.
And so it's
ebbs and flows.
Yeah, it's a fun roller coaster.
Hell yeah.
So like, it was like Christmas last year, we were doing like 80 pounds of coffee a week, doing gifts for people buying coffee bags as gifts for Christmas.
Yeah.
Doing that, going crazy. and then it got quiet at the beginning of the year, and then news wanted to do an interview, and then got really big, hyped up, talking with businesses, other stuff, and then it got quiet, and then another news interview, saw that news interview, and wanted to do their own.
Yeah.
And then it went big again, and then like the other time, like then it got real quiet, and then sales were low, and then these bigger companies were like, hey, can we work out a deal with you? And then that would be like a ton more business than we've done before, and then that comes back up, and then it's just a bunch of ups and downs all the time. It's fun though, because the biggest thing I learned is just being patient with it, because like I was saying, a lot of it takes care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, the longer you're in business, those opportunities just come. You just gotta be patient. Well, how can people find Roastr's social media? How can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so our Instagram is Roastr, ROASTR _coffee. Our Facebook is roastr.toledo, and our website is tastemyroaster.com, and Roastr's ROASTR. And yeah, so we're just we're going. We if you order coffee online, it shows up within very shortly after you order it. So the order will be ready within 3 days after you order it, just because of the roasting process and packaging and everything. And then we ship it right out to your house. And or if you're in the Northwest Ohio area, we'll deliver it to your door on Saturday mornings. And yeah, we're just trying to keep going day by day and do as much as we can.
Aiden, thanks for coming on. Make sure you check it out. Roastr, ROASTR.